Hi, my name's Justin from Cornerstone Christian Fellowship.
I'm Olivia Nom.
And both of us worked on the Acts 2:42 pieces that are hanging up at Parker Ford that were part of the sermon series that Tim is preaching on this month. And we just wanted to share a little bit about those pieces and kind of the process we went through. So, yeah.
Justin, can you talk a little bit about things that you felt were important to include in these pieces?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was talking to Mr. Deering, to Timothy, he told me kind of some of the structure that he wanted in it, and I got a picture in my head right away. And some of the things that might not be so obvious in the pieces are that of the living creatures that are in each of the four. The living creatures can be found in Revelation and Ezekiel, and they're always around God's glory one way or another, and just thinking about how the church should be always around God's glory as well, and that as we interact with each other, all of those things, whether it be the word or fellowship or ordinances or prayer, are an act of worship in that. So as you see those four living creatures, that's kind of where my mind went symbolically as far as bringing a framework of worship to that as well. And one of the other interesting things about the pieces is there's a colored ribbon, different colored ribbon. This is CMYK, which for all you graphic nerds is a color theory. And basically you can get any kind of color out of those four colors, out of cyan, magenta, yellow, and key or black. The thought behind that, the symbolism, is that the church life is dynamic. It is not stagnant. So you might have lulls of like monochromatic seasons, but then you might have, heights of very vibrant seasons as well. And with all of those different elements mixing in with each of the pieces, that the church is meant to be dynamic and not necessarily stagnant. So, yeah.
So my part in the project, Justin really provided more of a framework and some big picture ideas, and I had to kind of come up with a plan of how to actually put these things together, more of the pragmatic end and the technique end. And what really sticks out to me about the project was I had in my head this great idea of how the project was going to work, and I told Justin about it and showed him samples, but in reality when I got all the elements together, the photographs that Justin had taken and the ribbon and the creatures and all those sorts of things, I had them all together, tried to carry out what I had originally thought would work, and it just fell on its face. Everything was too dark to see, and had this kind of moment, kind of flashback from back in college when you set out to do a project. It doesn't go the way that you think it's going to go, and that can equal an F, or something, some reproof, or from like in a peer kind of
critique
situation. So I had that moment, that little flash, and then just the relief of knowing that I was making this for brothers and sisters, for you guys there at Parker Ford, and that God was doing something, and it didn't have to be my idea. So kind of went back to the drawing board, used some of the elements of what I had originally thought, and then started implementing some white paint. And I really liked the result. It kind of had a neat way of integrating the color idea from Justin, and kind of balance sort of a graphic and organic look to it by having both the crayon etching and the painting. So
kind of like a graphic novel.
Right. Had kind of a modern look. I'd never done something like that before. I wouldn't have had that experience if I hadn't. I don't want to say made a mistake, but run into that obstacle. So I appreciated being able to do something with the freedom of knowing that it was going to be okay, that it was a gift. A funny result of that was after my husband saw the pieces all together, he pointed out that it looked as though the paint was like a cloud, or like almost like the Spirit moving through all four of the pieces. And Justin took a look at it, showed it to some people, and they said the same thing. They all saw this white cloud kind of moving through the four pieces. And what's neat about that is that was not planned at all. I worked on the painting with each piece individually and never lined them up to make that happen. And so it's kind of a neat thing that neither Justin nor I noticed in the moment, and wouldn't have happened if my original plan had worked out the way I thought. So that's another thing I think is kind of cool about God moving in something for the church.
So even though we were looking at the detail of it and everything, we didn't necessarily at the time see the big picture, and other people actually showed us something about the piece we made that it was kind of mysterious to us. So that was kind of cool. One other comment about the pieces, the front piece and the back piece, so the word piece and the prayer piece, just the symbolism in the picture there. You'll see a pair of headphones in the word piece, and that's kind of to symbolize the word rhema, which is more so the listening word, the word that is heard. And then you also have the Bible there, you have the scripture there, which is the Logos word. So in that word piece, you have both of those kind of ways that God is communicating to us through the Logos and then also through the Rhema. And you can ask Josh or Tim if you have questions about those Greek words and everything, but that was kind of a neat thing that came out of that. On the back end, the hands, which were my wife's and I's hands, there's two sets of hands. One of them was kind of clenching, really tight. That symbolizing both either this like cry, this anguish that we have in prayer sometimes, and also on the other end of things, this rejoicing we have as well, like when we're connected to God. The hands up top were more in the receiving position. Again, different ways of prayer. Like prayer isn't always just asking or speaking, it's also being quiet and listening and letting God speak to us in the way He wants to, and quieting ourselves to be able to receive from Him, His will and His love and such. So, yeah. Anything else?
I'm really thankful for the opportunity to work on those pieces, and I hope that they're a blessing to your church, and that they help you to hear the word in a new way.
Yeah, thanks a lot to Tim and Parker Ford for asking us to do that. It was a blessing to us as well. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed them and that you got something from them. So thanks again. And again, my name's Justin.
Olivia.
Bye.